What age do they begin to transition?
I think each boy is different. I would say puberty is very,
Mhm.
you know, the body changes chemically, we change.
Mhm.
Testosterone is powerful,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of, when your voice changes and your body changes and mom is like, can't relate to the changes. So a healthy male role model needs to be like, hey, buddy, what's going on? This thing's happening and this thing's happening, right? And he's like, yeah, it is. I don't know what to do about it. That's the big change. Mom can't relate to those things. He's breaking away from his mother at that point, and that is very hard for moms. Like I watch my ex-wife and my son and their dynamic right now, and she wants to mother him. I'm like, he's a man. Like it's time to step back a little bit. He'll come to you when he needs you, but he's trying to figure out for himself how to make this transition. And this is where society lets us down pretty hard. And it's not anybody's fault. It's the way we've developed with technology and all kinds of things. There's less male interaction, but there's also no defined transition from boy to man. Think about it. A boy goes to school, elementary school, junior high, senior high. His body changes somewhere in there. He looks different. He sounds different. And then we just let him out into the world. He might go to university. He might go to trade school. He might go get a job. It's like, where did he learn how to be a man in there? So you get these men in their early 20s and into their 30s and 40s and even 50s that were like, I don't know how to emotionally regulate myself because nobody showed me the transition from boy to man. So his
Wow.
skills are stuck in that teen, testosterone kicking in stages. And if we're not aware of it, let's just use age 12 to 18 or 17 when they graduate. Where did they learn more skills in there? We kept treating them as 12-year-olds. We kept showing them 12-year-old skills. And if we're not aware as parents or fathers leading the way. So now you get into your 20s and 30s, and often men are operating from, unfortunately, an emotional level of a 12-year-old. And that's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. But as people gain this knowledge, it's everybody's responsibility to do something about it.
Mhm. So when a man can't emotionally regulate himself and he's in his 20s and he's getting involved into romantic relationships, how does this show up?
I would say it starts with compromising his own feelings and needs. I would say it
Wow.
starts with trying to please his partner. So if you think about it, he's repressed his own emotions. Let's say it's 25, he gets in like, wow, I want to marry this woman. So let's just go age 12 to 25. And there's no hard and fast rules. Like I want to be very clear. I'm not saying this is as blanket statements. We're just using to try to move the conversation along. If he's operated in that time frame, literally learning to suppress all his emotions and needs, he finds this woman that he like, wow, I want to marry her. And he's still not learning how to express himself. He's going to probably put her needs and feelings first above his own.
Mm.
So he's compromising himself and he's storing that. A little bit of resentment here, a little bit of resentment there. I mean, it could go the other way and he's very bullish and very like it's my way or the highway, but I'm gonna go from the other context because it's what I see more often is men kind of compromise their needs or they don't share what they want. And it just stores resentment so that there's a little bit of anger, a little bit of resentment just layering on top of one another. And he thinks, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what dad did. He never talked about anything. He just gave mom everything she wanted. And that's not going to work. It's not
Yeah.
going to work in the long term. I know I lived that. I know lots of men that have lived that and they get to like their late 30s and like, I'm not happy. Why aren't you happy? Well, you weren't being honest with yourself anywhere along the journey in your marriage, perhaps, or with yourself in life. And that's a hard realization to get to your late 30s and you're like, I'm not happy. Like, why aren't you happy? You got the wife, or let's start the other way. You got the university, you got the career, you found a wife, you bought the house, you had kids, you did everything you're supposed to do that society tells us you're supposed to do. Why aren't I happy? Well, because nobody told you how to be happy with yourself first. That's far more important. And it's going to make your relationship and your career and your relationship with your children fulfilling. And when you're fulfilled as a man and you show up and you're present and you're happy with yourself and connected with yourself, everyone around you is happier too, because men have far more power and the ability to connect with their emotions than we've been told. In fact, there's research, and I need to actually find the studies. They're starting to find that men are actually more sensitive than women.
I believe that. I've always thought that. I've always thought that, actually.
Exactly. So look at the last 120 years. So let's go back to the 1900s. What happened? 2 world wars happened. Mm-hmm. 2 world wars. Men went off to war. They had to put on this suit of armor, even emotionally, just to literally survive as human beings. So we don't have the privilege of talking to anybody from the 1800s. Perhaps men were more in tune with their emotions. Perhaps it's possible. We don't actually know. You go through these 2 generations or 3 generations of men having to completely change their role in society and the family. Yeah, things got messed up. Now we're in 2021 and we're less reliant on, we don't have that kind of conflict to those extremes. Life is completely different. And we have the ability now to shift it back. We can give some power to men. Well, they can claim it. It's right there. They all have it. They all have the ability to tap into it. It's just, do they want to lean into it? Because it's scary. I'm not gonna like candy coat that the role that a man has in his late 30s or early 40s or in their 20s and want to tap into their emotions when you haven't been shown how, since you just haven't been shown. There's some unknowns there.
Or maybe they think it's like bad because of what's been instilled in them. What do you think, Kaula?
I think it's interesting about repressing emotions because also in our culture, we don't talk about this kind of topics. And I mean, all the men around me that have been growing up with my brother or my father, I mean, emotionally, they weren't really expressing their emotions. And that really affected all my family's members. Mm-hmm. And I wanna ask a question. How can women provide a safe space for a man to express their emotions, show their vulnerabilities? Because I think it's hard for men to show the side of them. I don't think it's an easy process for them.
No, and oh man, I love this stuff. It's important to understand that we've talked about, age 12 to 25. We just use that as a reference point, that we didn't show boys and men how to transition from relating to their mom emotionally to their partner. So, I am very well aware women want their partners to be more emotionally available, show their emotions. We don't want them to project. We don't want them to view their partner as their mother and how they relate their emotions to their mother. It's different. It's a different skill set. It's a different sharing. Your partner is not there to help you regulate emotionally like your mother was before age 12. So how do we get men to do that? There's a few factors at play. Number one is understanding masculine and feminine polarity and what that even means, what the masculine needs and craves, what the feminine needs and craves. And as I already brought up, we both have those energies and traits in us, male or female. It doesn't matter. It's not gender specific. But if you zoom out and in a relationship, you view the relationship as a whole, needing masculine and feminine energies and traits, which it does. And if we just imagine a circle and down the middle, masculine energy, feminine energy, 50-50. We're just using this for illustrative purposes. You would think that the man would fulfill the masculine and the woman would fulfill the feminine. But because we don't teach that, because men and women are very in tune with it. I'm going to get to this. I'm going to like put women on a pedestal a little bit in a minute. But for now, the question was, how do we encourage men to do that? I'm going to zoom out and imagine this circle, masculine and feminine energies. Women want men to fulfill this masculine role. We both want it. I'm generalizing, but it usually works for most people, which means women show up with their feminine energy, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And here's where you get to go as a gender. You're far ahead of us spiritually and healing this stuff. Like you're way ahead of us. If the man is supposed to fulfill 50% of the masculine or that masculine role in the relationship, but he can't because he doesn't know how to regulate his emotions, because he's not been modeled this in the relationship, women will be like, fine, I'm going to do it subconsciously. And all of a sudden you're doing your role plus this part of the pie, his masculine part. And he might now be doing 30% of the heavy lifting emotionally in the relationship, and nobody wants that. He doesn't want that. You don't want that, but we don't know what to do as men. So what can women do? First thing is to acknowledge that I'm occupying some of the space. And then you're going to say, yeah, but he's not doing it, so I have to. And I'm going to say, yeah, I understand. But if you're occupying that space, how is he supposed to step into it? So can you, as a woman, learn to step back and open up that space in the relationship so he can step into it? Of course, he has to be willing to. But if you want him to be masculine, and part of masculine is managing your own emotions. Like that's a big part. We think like machoism, maybe we might think of boys don't cry. That's not masculine. That's garbage. That's like societal marketing. Like it's a bit of a mess. But you want your man to be masculine. You need to allow him to be. So if you as a woman, or maybe this is a very broad example, making decisions for the family, where you're going to go for dinner,